Hello fellow epic gamers. Today I'm doing a video on 5 useful tips and tricks in Photoshop. Basically just gonna show you my routine and what I do to make my headers look like they do and make my advertisements look like they do. For example, starting with diffusion lighting. This example, it looks like a normal picture right now because it is a normal picture. If I hide it's just normal, but now I add the lighting and it's way more lively. One, because of this lighting on her hair, for example. This lighting, it just makes it stand out more. For example, now it's not really showing the color, so what I do, I go to color overlay and then I make sure that the color is correct, so it will match her hair and will keep the color that it is, basically. So for example, if I show you now, this is her normal color and this is making it more vibrant and bright. Also, second example, the lighting, just some bright spots on her armor. I basically just brushed over it with a brush. I'll show you in a second, but it makes it way more lively and way more believable. And then of course the sword, it looks like basically like there's already a little bit of diffusion lighting on it, but I just jumped it up a bit. Also the amulet on her neck, and even the background, I touched it up a little bit to make it stand out a little bit more. So if I just go ahead and hide this group again, then you'll see that everything changes a lot because diffusion lighting. And I use this on my headers a ton of times. For example, on my crispy header, if I turn off the lighting there, it's just way like, it's flat, it looks flat, and that's not what we want. So now I'll go into example 2. As you can see, this picture, it already looks really good, but I added some touches, and there you go. I added a vignette on the sides, and then I added lighting, for example, on the eye. This is the vignette, and this is for the lightning, as you can see. And as you can see also on the water and the eye. If I turn off this eye, it just looks, it still looks very good, but the diffusion lighting just helps it pop out more. Also with the lighting on his yellow parts of his body, I also touched that up. Also the red parts. So if I just go ahead and show all of this again, you can see that it looks way more lively, way more lit up, and it just looks better. So now I will go ahead and show you how I did this. So let me open up a new file and drag this picture over to the new file, and I will show you how I did my diffusion lighting. Basically, you make a new layer for every single layer of lighting you want. You grab a color. For example, I want this light blue. For example, if I use this color, I just brush over here a bit. By the way, I'm using the brackets to make it bigger and smaller, my brush. So basically what I'm just doing now is just brushing over the things I want lit up. And then turn the layer to linear dodge, add. It will already look very, very vibrant, but then I turn on the opacity and it will just give it that much more pop, as you can see. So yeah, that was tip 1. Diffusion lighting. Now on to tip 2, directional shadows. As you can see on this example picture, there's text, and under there there's like some faded what's it called, shadows. For example, if I turn this off, you won't see it. Basically the light source is coming from the top, so I made the shadows go down. Also, if you pair this with the diffusion lighting I just taught you, it just looks a little bit better, it just pops out a little bit more. I also use this a ton on my headers and on my other pieces, as you can probably notice if you look at my portfolio. Now onto the second example. For example, if the light source is in the corner, in the left corner over here, the lighting is basically shining down from like a 45-degree angle, so the shadows are also doing the same thing, and they're basically projecting a shadow on the background. You can see it better when I have a white background on. And the shadows are just casting in the direction they need to be to make it look realistic. And again, if you pair that with the diffusion lighting, it just pops and it looks great. Now I will show you how I did this. So if I just grab this example text, I copy it with Ctrl J, then I rasterize it and press Ctrl U and change the lightness all the way down to dark. Put it under the example layer, go to filter, blur, motion blur, set it to 90 degrees and set it any distance you want, depends on how far you want your shadows to cast. And basically what you just do is erase the top part, and there you go, you have some directional shadows. It's exactly the same with the one from the top left. You just change the angle to match the lighting, and then you're done. So that was tip 2. Now on to the next one. Tip number 3. Now I'm going to show you how to use assets, or how I use assets. As you can see on this header, it just looks like I did a few shapes in the background, but really what I did, I copied his logo and used it all over the place to make it look like I used shapes, but I actually just reused his logo a ton, which makes it look really clean, because his logo works like that. But if I show you this header I did for Mixo, you can see in the background I reused his logo to match the background and to create a cool effect, which looks really great in my opinion. I don't really have to show you how to do this because you can already see how I did it. I just copied the logo a ton, put a few gradients on it, a few stocks on it, lit it up a bit with the diffusion lighting, and there you go. Now on to tip 4, gradient use. I'll show you how I use my gradients normally. So number 1 on the right here, I used one gradient, but I just reversed it a few times. You can see that it changes. So if I hide this, you can see that it's just one gradient but flipped with an ellipse in it. If I just hide this ellipse, for example, basically this is just a rotated shape with a reverse gradient on it, so it looks really nice. The second one is also just a variation of flipped gradients in different angles, which in my opinion also looks really good. For example, if I flip this one, you can see it just matches a little bit better. Then this middle one here, it's just literally a copy shape with a flipped gradient also. Basically how you use gradients is just you get a few shapes in it and you flip the gradient over so you can really make it work and make it look good. Because if you just put a flat gradient there without any angles or without any real editing, then it just doesn't look very good. But I also suggest to use gradients over any color overlay because it just looks very, very good and gives some more creativity to your creation basically. Okay, tip number 5, my final touches. So what I do to basically finalize my header, for example, as you can see, there's already CC and diffusion lighting on this one. So what I normally do when I'm done, I group all the images, copy the group, and then basically just merge everything. And I end up with this. So what I then do is I go to Filter, Lens Correction, go to Custom, go to this Fix Red Cyan Fringe, and put it all the way to -65. So it gives it just a little bit of lens correction. As you can see, there's a little bit of RGB split. What I then do is I go to Camera Raw Filter, I go to the preset filters, scroll all the way down to vignetting, and just check out which one looks the best, and in this case it's medium. And then what I then do last is Smart Sharpen. With these settings you can copy them if you want to, and then I press OK, and it just looks really, really good and really clean and just looks very sharp and will end up looking really good on Twitter. But you're probably wondering, how am I gonna get this quality and post it on Twitter? Because Twitter always ruins quality. Well, what you then do is you go to compresspng.com, you upload files, grab any image you want, for example this, because why not, then you download it and you can post it to Twitter with a very high quality. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below if you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.